My last sleeper draft pick video was a big success, and I thought I would take a look at another 6 players who I think are undervalued or could slip more than they should in the 2018 NBA draft. This time around, I look at some more athletic players and players that missed college seasons and have therefore slipped out of the public eye a little bit. I'll be covering the NBA draft heavily in the lead up to it, so make sure to subscribe down below. But let's get into this video. First up is a guy a lot of people commented that I missed in my other video on NBA sleepers. Jevon Carter. Carter is a 4-year player at West Virginia who has made improvements in every single season he spent in college. Rumours are that some scouts are extremely high on him, whilst others don't even think he should get drafted. I fall somewhere in the middle. Carter has the potential to be a really good role-playing point guard on a good team, and could potentially develop further. The 2 things that he does well are 3-point shooting and defense, both of which are in high demand in the NBA and essentially guarantee you a roster spot if you can do both. But Javon Carter's calling card is his defense. He was a 2-time NABC Defensive Player of the Year in college and is fearless on that end of the floor. He doesn't just defend players, waiting on their move. He uses his long arms, quick feet, and defensive mind to attack the player with the ball and completely throw them off their game. In his final season of college hoops, Carter averaged 3 steals and won himself the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year award, being the first player ever to win the award. And his defense is so good that some players cancelled team workouts when they found out that Carter was coming, as they were worried he would disrupt their workout and make them look bad in front of scouts. If other top guards are legitimately worried about playing against a prospect, he has to be a very good defender, and these rumours will help shoot Carter's draft stock up. Plus, his consistent improvement as a 3-point shooter over his 4 seasons in college bodes well for his draft stock. In his first 2 seasons of college, he averaged 31% from deep and then made a huge leap to 39% in his junior and senior years. NBA teams will be hoping that he can keep improving this 3-point percentage and shoot well in the league. I think a lot of championship teams will be taking a look at Javon. He isn't going to be able to dominate on a bad team, but he's the perfect kind of point guard to be next to superstar wings. Someone like Cleveland with LeBron, Philadelphia, and the Spurs might take a serious look at Carter. He can come off the bench, defend like crazy, distribute the ball well, and knock down threes. Carter isn't going to be a star in the league, but he'll have a solid career in the NBA and could be a great option in the late first round or as a second round pick. Mitchell Robinson is up next and is one of the most intriguing prospects in the whole draft. The 7-footer is incredibly athletic and averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 blocks a game before committing to Western Kentucky. Ultimately, he would not attend college and instead try and prepare for the 2018 NBA draft by himself and with personal trainers. This is one of the first times a heavily recruited player didn't play for any team between high school and the draft, and scouts will be wondering how much he has improved over the year locked away in gyms. And at first glance when you see him in workout videos, you see a 7-footer who is lean, strong, with huge hops and looks very mobile on the court. In many ways, Robinson is the perfect frame for an NBA center these days, and it is impossible to deny his massive potential. In these early workout videos, we see him spotting up for threes, and his stroke actually looks quite good. Now, Mitchell isn't going to come into the NBA and be lights out from 3 or on offense, but he has the potential to develop into a solid shooting big. Where his potential will be is the defensive end and rebounding. Robinson proved in high school that he has a great ability to block shots and get after it on the rebounding side of the floor. Whichever team drafts Robinson will ask him to run the floor, set screens, and make his presence felt in the paint on both sides of the ball. His height and athleticism will allow him to thrive in the modern NBA, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to defend guards and wings on the perimeter for brief periods of time, allowing him to play in a switching defense. On offense, he will be a project, and teams will have to be patient, but I see him getting there eventually. If Robinson had have played college, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him go top 15 or even top 10. So I think some team will get a really nice surprise when they take him between 15 and 30 and have a great long-term big man on their team. The raw skills and athleticism are simply too great to pass up. Following Robinson, we have another strange prospect in terms of how they got to the NBA draft in Anthony Simmons. Simmons also last played in high school, but hasn't taken a year off. Instead, after his first senior year, he reclassified back down to play another year of high school basketball. He'll be 19 at the time of the draft and is therefore eligible for it despite only just graduating from high school. Anthony was ranked as a top 10 recruit of his high school class and has a lot of potential as a combo guard with great athleticism. He is 6'4" and has a 6'7" wingspan and a solid standing reach. His quickness allows him to get past defenders and get into the paint, where he's developed a solid game based on hitting layups and soft floaters. But the part of his offense that will excite scouts is his jump shooting ability and pure athleticism. Simmons is a 40+% three-point shooter, and this should translate well into this NBA career. It will allow him to play off-ball as he adjusts to the NBA and still provide spacing and the ability to score from shooting or attacking closeouts off the dribble. He can also shoot off screens and off the dribble, and this is where the true potential lies. NBA teams will be excited about a guy who can potentially be a primary or secondary option on offense, who can create for himself and shoot off of the dribble and get into the paint. Simmons looks simply effortless on the court and already has a wide variety of moves. From the step back, the Euro step, to a pretty solid spin move, he'll be a handful of defenders when he gets his confidence up in the league. His first step is also lethal and allows him to blow by defenders easily, which is promising for his transition to the NBA. But the reason why teams might struggle to convince themselves to draft Simmons is his passing. He only averaged 1.3 assists a game at a few of the big basketball camps, and he will seriously need to work on his court vision if he wants to succeed at the NBA level. If he can't pass well out of his first step and moves, he will simply get doubled and triple teamed and then struggle to score and turn the ball over frequently, resulting in an inefficient player and option on the court. But Simmons is young, with good athleticism, amazing skills, and a great first step. Plus, his defense is actually pretty solid with good potential as well. I'd be taking a long look at drafting Anthony Simmons and hiring a passing and point guard coach as soon as possible if I had a pick outside the top 10. Athletic, long, fast, with an insanely high work ethic and ceiling. Sounds like a top 5 prospect, right? No. These are words to describe Zhaire Smith, the incredibly young freshman out of Texas Tech. Right now, a lot of mock drafts have him going in that 10 to 20 and even 30 range, and I think this is probably the right range for him. However, I think nearly every single team after the 10th pick will be taking a good, long look at Smith. Coming in at about 6'4.5", the shooting guard has a 6'10" wingspan. But what will excite teams the most is his 43 to 45 inch max vertical leap, which puts him into the upper echelon of athleticism for the NBA itself. He's also exceptionally quick up and down the court, off the dribble, and has good lateral quickness, which he displays on the defensive end of the court. And on the defensive end is where Smith will shine in the early parts of his career. Zhaire has shown the ability to defend multiple positions on the court and can be effective in doing so. He has great footwork and doesn't get caught out of position very much. Plus, he doesn't seem to reach for steals as much as a lot of younger athletes at the college level. Smith understands the need to stay down, impact every play, and minimize how often he gets burnt by not reaching and allowing defenders to blow by him. Smith is also a solid rebounder for his size and can get up to block shots that a lot of smaller guards simply couldn't dream of impacting. But on the offensive end, Smith looks like he is a pretty big project. He doesn't have the tightest of handles, isn't great at attacking people off the dribble, and is a bit of a streaky shooter. The biggest problem is by far his handle and the ability to attack off the dribble. For the first couple of years in the NBA, Smith likely won't be able to do this much at all. There are videos of him pulling off some nice dribble combos, however these are rehearsed moves, with no defensive pressure, and when he goes to his blow-by dribble, he resorts back to high dribble that he employs. This high dribble is prone to losing the ball to a good defender, and he'll have to work on that if he ever wants to become a versatile offensive threat, or even a point guard as he says. But what should be able to contribute is three-point shooting. Smith shot 45% from deep in his college season, which is a fantastic mark. But it was on a small sample size as he only shot 43-point attempts. However, Zhaire himself stated that he only took his first three-pointer in his senior year at high school. This means that he hasn't spent much time working on this shot. Who knows how consistent he could become with 3 more seasons of training underneath him, working on his three-point shooting. The upside is really high on Zhaire Smith, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like the Clippers or the Bucks try and pick him up and continue to develop long talent that can shoot and defend and be athletic. Overall, I think he is definitely slept on. Years ago, Lonnie Walker wouldn't have been as talked about. He isn't talented enough at the pick and roll to run it, or a good enough shooter to space the floor perfectly from the 2 guard, but he can do both at a good level. In the past, NBA teams didn't value three-point shooting as much, or run as many pick and rolls. You had to be able to create for yourself or shoot threes at an extremely high level to see time on the court. But now, NBA teams need every single person on the floor other than the big man to be able to shoot threes. So even average three-point shooters will get even more time on the court if they can defend. Just look at players like Trevor Ariza and PJ Tucker on the Rockets. Neither player can really create for themselves and neither is a lights-out shooter. but they defend like crazy and can shoot threes at an average level and are extremely valuable and helped their teams get to the Western Conference Finals. Now, Lonnie Walker isn't the same kind of player as Ariza and Tucker, but his ability to shoot threes and defend and the upside he has makes him an extremely intriguing prospect and, to me, extremely underrated by journalists going into the draft. He's already been worked out by 5 teams inside the top 10 and could see his name being called very early in the first round. If you looked at his stats, you might think they look very average, but when you split his stats down the middle, you can see him recovering from his meniscus injury as the season goes on. Over the last 16 games of the year, he averaged 14.4 points and shot 37% from 3, showing the offensive potential he has. But it is the athleticism that makes Walker intriguing. Walker simply leaps out of the gym, is lightning fast, and has an explosive first step. Teams will hope that they can take his shooting and athleticism and develop him into an exceptionally dangerous combo guard or even a point guard. Walker has shown some flashes of being able to run the pick and roll, but he seriously needs to work on this area to become a full-time NBA guard. NBA offenses run almost entirely off pick and roll, and players have to be able to run it if they want to succeed on offense. Walker will have to seriously develop this to ensure he can run secondary action on a team outside of his three-point shooting. But outside of the top 10 picks in this draft, there are no sure things, and teams will bank on their development systems to turn Lonnie Walker into an all-round offensive player, and hope that his athleticism will take him to a next-level player in the NBA. Amazing value for someone out of the top 15 in most mock drafts. The last prospect in this sleeper pick video is Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt was an exceptionally talented recruit to Kentucky in his high school class. As a 6'9" wing with a huge wingspan and athleticism, many thought he could absolutely dominate college and lead Kentucky to a championship. But Vanderbilt's season of college was stolen from him, and he only managed to play 17 minutes a game off the bench for 14 games this season due to injury. In those games, he managed to average 5.9 points and 7.9 rebounds while blocking almost 1 shot a game. The thing that jumps out to me is his rebounding stats. 7.9 rebounds in 17 minutes is simply insane, and shows his basketball knowledge to get into positioning, his athleticism to actually grab them, and the effort to go after them again and again. It is because of this rebounding prowess that I have Vanderbilt projecting as a small ball 4 and a small forward in the league. Because he is so good at rebounding, he won't get dominated on that end playing the 4 and will need to bulk up a little bit to really play this position well. The biggest problem with Vanderbilt is his shooting. His jump shot will be a huge concern to every team. He can't hit threes and his mid-range is exceptionally inconsistent. Teams will simply sag off Vanderbilt and playing him will create a spacing problem for the rest of the team. But Vanderbilt is really, really good at driving and slashing into the paint and finishing there. He has that one half of his offensive game down. Players really struggled to guard Vanderbilt's speed and size, and if he's given any space when he catches the ball, it is essentially over. And even when he misses the shot, he is so springy that he can get up and get the rebound. He can also pass the ball well for a player of his size, and he should focus on continuing developing this in his pro career. Vanderbilt is an extremely intriguing prospect overall. He has all the tools and athleticism except for the most important thing in the NBA, shooting. I think he'll go late in the first round and could see the Spurs picking him up and hoping that they can develop his shooting like they did with Kawhi Leonard. That's it for 6 more sleeper picks in the 2018 NBA draft, and if you haven't seen my other sleeper draft pick video, be sure to check it out on my channel. And make sure to subscribe for more NBA videos and leave this video a like as well. I'll be doing a few more draft videos including another mock draft coming soon. Thanks for watching guys, and let me know what you think in the comments below.